We're now rolling and recording.
Hi. Um, so how has your understanding of e-portfolios evolved during the past year's work with the EPAT committee?
Um, yeah, my work with the committee and also attending conferences where there were special presentations on the effectiveness of electronic portfolios has really provided some meat to the bones of my understanding. I've always been a supporter of portfolio-like tools in aiding student understanding. What I've come to better understand is, are the conditions under which rolling out e-portfolios on campus are likely to be successful, and the kinds of things that e-portfolios can help promote in student learning. It's made it more explicit in my mind, and I've become much more convinced that e-portfolios or a portfolio-like approach to organizing student learning can do things that otherwise can't be done with our standard ways of approaching teaching and learning.
Great. Excellent. So based on what you've learned and what you knew, you know, came with,
Mm-hmm.
do you have any sense of what you think might be the critical success factors for Chico State as it goes to implement e-portfolios?
Yeah, I do. I'm convinced by the literature and anecdotal evidence that we need to be very thoughtful and mindful about how we roll out the opportunity for faculty and students to use e-portfolios. I really do think it makes sense to target it to specific programs or departments. And what's going to be critical in this is faculty buy-in and students' understanding of how, in fact, this is not just an add-on, but something that actually can help them in their own arc of learning, if you will. Faculty on this campus are really sensitive to student learning, and they're focused on students. I think that's part of the Chico State experience, is the faculty's widespread commitment to students and keeping students in mind. I think what's going to be critical is faculty understanding or coming to understand how, in fact, their values are promoted, instantiated, enhanced by the use of the ePortfolio tool. And so we'll need to have faculty buy-in in a way that's authentic. Same thing with students. I think students need to be able to see how this is a very useful tool for them, not only with respect to their career here at the university, but how it might impact their success once they leave the university. When they see those things, I think you'll get people much more willing to try out something that they either don't understand, they're not sure about, or might even be cynical about.
So over the last year, the committee gathered information from a whole range of sources, and you also, in addition, attended conferences. Of all of that range, what do you think was the most helpful to the effort, and what do you think we still might need in terms of information that would help the group?
I think what is very compelling and useful, not only to the committee, but to the wider campus community, are examples, explicit examples of how existing programs that are using portfolios have utilized the portfolios. And to hear the voices from the students themselves. When you hear student voices about how a particular activity or tool has enhanced their own learning, that's very compelling. And I think that's probably what the committee really needs to do to help round out our presentation of e-portfolios to the campus community. I'm convinced that the committee is already convinced about the utility of e-portfolios. I think the next step is to be thoughtful, to be mindful about how we can best approach this to the wider campus.
So now, in a more specifically in the context of BSS,
Mm.
and also within your role as dean. How might e-portfolios impact your work or the work of your immediate colleagues?
Yeah, that's a really good question, and I think therein lies the core value of e-portfolios. I think a lot of educational experiences for students are punctuated experiences. They're separate classes that are associated with their major or with general education or other kinds of things. And what ePortfolios, a thoughtful, reflective, proactive approach to the use of ePortfolios can do is help students think more globally about their learning and longitudinal about their learning, about how we'll progress over time. I think of ePortfolios as sort of the potential string to a series of pearls that are otherwise collected in a box, but not connected together as a coherent whole. And so ePortfolios as a tool holds the promise, I think, of being able to help forge those connections, to make connections across the students' educational experiences in the major, general education, and over time. I think the other thing that it does, it has a potential to have a huge impact on how the faculty themselves see their own curriculum, see their role in the curriculum, and how that they can work together and think about the curriculum as a unified whole in a way that perhaps has not yet been realized. And so if faculty in a department agree that e-portfolios are something that would be useful to a particular student's experience in their major, then it fosters a communication about what the individual role of the faculty in their courses are to this larger outcome, whether it's become a psychology major or a communications major or an engineering student, to link those things together. So those are the two things I think, for me, are the main things. Helping students be more proactive, thoughtful, reflective, and take charge of their learning in a way that's, I don't think, very typical. And again, to reiterate, I think it really does hold the potential to help departments become more integrated and thoughtful about how their curriculum should be integrated. And to me, those are the two really exciting things about the potential of ePortfolios.